So, welcome to another episode of the CHOW and DIMES podcast, and we were wrong about our teams. I will tell you that. Holy crap. So the first takeaway I want to talk about is that we played probably two of the best defenses in the league, our teams. So once we get that out of the way, we can kind of cope with the loss. But at least for you guys, for the Steelers, it wasn't against a division rival, conference rival, so you have that going for you. At least, but for us, I mean, Dallas, it can't get any worse than that.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat anything. Like we both got fucking embarrassed on our home floor, bro.
We did
home
get
floor,
embarrassed.
home field.
Home
I'm thinking it's
field.
basketball.
No, yeah.
But oh my god.
So
Then again, none of the 1:00 games were really
none of the
entertaining.
No, they weren't that good. I think there was only actually 3 or 4 good games.
The Jags Colts game was
That
pretty
game was good. No, that game was good. I like that game, but
that Miami Chargers and Eagles Patriots games, great.
Dude.
Those were great games.
Miami's actually gonna go crazy this year on offense. They could have the best offense in the league, by far, easily. So I think they're gonna make a lot of moves and probably get 11 wins, 12 wins. We'll see. I haven't looked at their schedule, but they're gonna be
Hey
flying.
man, my hot take. I have them coming out of that division. Buffalo's
like them
vulnerable. The Jets, well,
We'll see. I think their defense is
it
good enough.
sucks though.
That sucks.
When we were watching, I was like, I know we were making jokes and everything and blah blah blah, and I actually felt bad when it came back when he started getting carted off the field. I was like, oh, now I kind of feel bad for making jokes.
Dude,
but
same thing happened to me, bro.
It happens, yeah.
Dude, tearing your Achilles is I'm still recovering from that shit,
bro.
So
You're also not a 40-year-old man who does
But he's in great
LSD
shape.
in dark
Well-
rooms. You know what I'm saying?
we've done some shit though, so we can't be talking. But anyway,
True, but we don't just go, hey man, let's go do a hallucinogenic and sit in a dark room for 3 days.
Wait, you
with
think
no
he did acid or something
I
while
don't
he's in the
think
room?
I know. I don't think I know.
Why wouldn't you though? To be fair,
I
why
wouldn't want to do it in a fucking dark room.
you're just
dude.
sitting there
What do we do? What do you do? Lay down in bed and just stare at the ceiling for 12 hours a day?
yeah.
And then what do you do? Go to sleep?
How many days was he in there though?
I
Do you
think
know?
he was there for 3 or 4 days. I don't really
Fuck
remember.
that. That's
but,
crazy.
But anyway, I still wish him the best. You shouldn't, wish that upon anyone. And by the way, I don't understand why the NFL still has turfs. I think I told you this the other day. I'm not sure where I read this from, but I saw something where it was in terms of non-contact injuries from 2001 to 2009, there was X. From 2014 to 2019, that X, I'm not going to say doubled, but it was significantly higher than that because everyone incorporates a turf field now. Look at how many players have said oh well, I tore my Achilles on a turf field. I tore my ACL on a turf field because their body can't if you're going to make a cut on a turf field, there's no way for that energy to go. It just goes. It's all in your knees and joints and ankles. That's why all these players are getting hurt. But anyway, we're not going to sit here and talk about Aaron Rodgers' injury. I'm pretty sure everyone and their mothers has heard about this guy in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, the only thing I can say about turf is that MetLife did get new turf, and apparently it is when new turf is very forgiving. It's when it gets worn out over time where it starts to get very sticky and your foot starts sticking to it. That's what happened to me. That's how I got injured. It was really rough turf that has been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
MetLife's turf is different, but also the injury wasn't necessarily because of the turf. It was because that the defensive end fell on him while he was trying to put his foot down, and then his whole leg just gave away from
All
it.
right.
So
We're getting sidetracked.
no,
a little
but
bit.
I think it's a good point though.
It is a good point.
I think it was good to bring up. So,
Right.
but for me, I'll just talk a little bit about the Giants. So definitely overreaction Monday came into effect. I think fans like myself, were very, depressed just by that loss. Honestly, thinking so much more was going to happen for them, especially first game of the season. They got so many more weapons. Their defense is a lot better, but it's just momentum killer once you get to that blocked field goal. And it was even before that. They had the false start. Then our center he botched the snap. They fumbled it, and then the obviously the blocked field goal got ran back for a touchdown. All that if that happens, you're probably gonna lose. Especially also I've noticed if you have 2 turnovers like that in a game, like you're not gonna win. I don't care what team you're playing. Like you get a blocked field goal that gets run back for a touchdown. You're not winning that game.
It's demoralizing.
You're not. So I think the Giants kind of just pushed that game out of the way. I think they're playing the Cardinals now, so that's a really good matchup for them to actually start to gain some momentum back. So I think they'll win. I don't know if it's going to be a dominant win because I just don't think they're that team this year, and they weren't last year. I just don't think they're a team to really blow the teams out of the game and just dominate. They just weren't like that. They weren't like that against bad opponents last year, like Houston, Chicago. They beat those teams by like a field goal, like barely a touchdown. But yeah, I think they'll have a good game next game. I don't think they'll win by a lot, but I think they'll regain momentum because after that, they're playing the 49ers, and that's a short week as well. They're playing next Thursday. So,
Good luck.
yeah, exactly. So, we'll see how the Giants do that, but how do you feel about the 49ers against your team? Holy shit.
God.
Crazy.
God.
What a team though the 49ers are. To be real here, the 49ers are
they're
one of the
legit.
best. They're one of the best teams
They're
in the league.
legit.
So,
Like, I know we were sitting here with our chests out last week and saying, like, oh, fuck the Cowboys, but Cowboys are Super Bowl contender, but I still think the favorite is the Niners.
yeah, I would
Just
say
'cause-
say their favorite.
Just everything. But I don't know. I knew it was going to be bad when literally, like, their first, like, 3 drives, they scored.
Yeah,
Like, not even 3 drives. I think their
But it was
first, like,
clean.
2 drives. But it wasn't, like, something where it was like, oh, big play, big play, big play. No, they methodically ran down the field. And then when Brandon Ayuk caught the 1 touchdown where he's, like, sitting there with the ball in his hands like this, just sitting in the end zone. And I was just like, yeah, we're going to get dicked. But
It's your offense. I think the
Dude.
Steelers' offense really is struggling. They need something. They really do.
I said it last week. We're young. We're young, and I actually saw a meme the other day where it was like a bartender getting like serving someone who was like a fan of each team, and it does like a stereotypical like the Cowboys fan walks up and goes, yeah, I'll take whatever that is, but we're going to the Super Bowl, so I don't really care. But the one with the Steelers, he was like had his hands underneath like the bar and everything, and then he's like, oh, I'll just have whatever you got. Do you have any like Pittsburgh brewery type of beer? And he hands him a beer, and he just like those little toy hands and everything. And I was like, they're making fun of Kenny because he has small hands. Yeah.
I still think Kenny Pickett is a baller. Like, don't get me wrong. I think he's a good QB. It's just for both our QBs.
I mean, bro.
bad
Then
matchup.
again, we went up against probably top 3 defenses last week.
Easily. Both teams are top 3. Dallas and
Like,
and
bro,
San
I
Fran.
knew it was bad when that like little the little like thing popped up on the screen where it was like the Niners total yards of offense 199, the Steelers 1.
I've been hearing stuff about your offensive coordinator. How he's
Sucks.
How he's not good.
I'm really
he's
trying to
bad.
like cut back on the cursing. I was actually debating on grabbing like a cursing jar and putting it there and bringing like change. And just
Well, then
being
I gotta
like,
put
"All right,
change
well,
in there because I'm cursing too.
You kidding, bro? You kidding me? If you get me going about the Steelers, we'll have enough to buy a whole setup.
Yeah, for
We'll be
real.
able to buy a studio for
Yeah.
2 hours. But dude, I was so mad. Like I said this to you last year when like the Steelers were everything. Whenever the Steelers were on, I'd watch the game for like 1 or 2 quarters. By the 3rd quarter, I was like, all right, they're gonna run left. All right, this one's gonna be a screen to the left side. The other one's going to be, oh, it's 3rd and 8 now and we've only gained 2 yards. Okay, let's throw a 5-yard pass for some reason.
Yeah.
What is this guy doing, bro? And then people are saying on the internet, they're like, oh, well, Matt Canada's going to be offered a head coaching job. I'm like, I've had this guy's offense for 3 years. He's had Big Ben, Mitch, and Kenny Pickett. He has had the same excuse for every single one of them. Oh, well, I can't really dial it up with Ben because he doesn't have the arm that he used to. Okay, that's understandable. Ben was in the twilight of his career. I understand that. Oh, well, I can't really dial it up with Mitch just because he's not a long ball passer. He's more of like a short pass like type of guy. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Mitchell Trubisky is about as accurate as me throwing with my left hand. But and then he says the same. And then he's like, with Kenny, he's like, there's no more excuses. This guy's got an arm. He's accurate-ish. And that's it. And you're going to sit here and tell me that it's because you can't dial anything up because of whatever? No, dude. Excuses are like assholes, man.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got them and they all stink. Throw the ball more than 20 yards down the field or 10 yards down the field.
Yeah, I didn't watch much of the game.
You got destroyed. Kenny was visibly uncomfortable standing in the pocket.
Yeah. So I was watching the game through Red Zone, and I mean, I didn't really get to see much of the Steelers' offense because they weren't really in the red zone.
Hell, neither did I, and I watched the damn game.
But that touchdown,
that Christian McCaffrey touchdown, I was like,
did you see Ayuk block?
Yeah,
like,
bro.
That block
I watched
he
the
threw?
game.
Oh my, dude, that team's legit, man.
I know.
Like, I wouldn't even be that upset.
I'm not upset. I am a little butthurt because I was like sitting here like last week with my chest out, just being like, "Yeah, the Steelers are gonna win by a field goal." No, we got fucking destroyed.
I thought the Steelers were gonna win too, but
I thought they'd make it close.
I underestimated the 49ers though. We did. We underestimated that team.
That one game, bro, we had like, I don't really know like the extent of it, but I know like we had Pat Fryermuth went down with an injury.
Yep.
Cam Hayward was in and out of the game.
Yep.
A couple other guys on defense were in and out of the game, and I was like, this is a great start. But then again, every team deals with injuries in one way, shape, or form. You just hope that it's not for key pieces.
Yeah.
Which Cam Hayward and Pat Fryermuth are key pieces, but I digress.
What do you think about Big Ben becoming OC of your team, bro? You think that would ever happen? Because he knows his offense. Like he's on YouTube and he's explaining stuff. Like I've seen videos of him like explaining like the Steelers, the mistakes they make on offense and stuff like that. And he knows his shit, bro. Like he could be a good offensive coordinator if he gets the experience.
I feel like offensive coordinator, no, but I do think he should be an offensive consultant.
He should be part of the team.
Because there's something where Ben has had multiple points where, Tomlin's talked about it, Ben has talked about it, and they've said, like, there'd be times when someone would call a play, Ben would be like, okay, yeah, the play is to run the ball, but we're going to chuck it. And I do think that they need some type of that type of influence to say, like, hey, I know our entire team and franchise is based off of running the ball and having an amazing defense. But with the way the league is now and how pass-oriented every single team needs to be,
Definitely.
like, I hate the fact that I'm going to use Miami as an example, but Miami proves it perfectly. Miami's offense, well, that's also because Mike McDaniels is a great offensive mind.
Amazing offensive mind.
But there's so many times where, like, yeah, there's outliers in this. Like, the Niners are probably the biggest outlier because of the fact that they just have they have, like, a run-first offense, but that run-first offense is also complemented by the fact that they have a good passing quarterback. I'm not saying Brock Purdy's going to throw 40-yard bombs every other day, but
he has parts around him that are elite. And I think the Steelers, they don't have that right now.
I don't think any team has the amount of weapons that the Niners have. Like,
I would say Miami does, but that's it.
Miami lacks on the other side of the ball. Miami's got
but they're going to score
a pretty
35
solid
points
defense.
a game, though.
Yeah,
so
Miami's got a pretty solid defense. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're definitely more offensive powered than defensive powered. Plus, they got like Bradley Chubb from the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, he's a really good pass rusher.
And they also got like a couple other guys that I like, but I can never remember their names. Like a Christian Watkins or something like that. I think he's number 94. He's the guy that you always see like walking off of the field and everything, and he's like taking people's towels out and throwing them on the ground.
Yeah.
So it's such a steady way to like talk shit. It's like you don't even have to say anything. It's just like, but
no.
Yeah. Either way, bro, I was like.
Well, who do you guys play next week? Anyway,
we play Monday Night Football and we play the Browns. Personally, I don't want to be blowing some hot air like we did last week, but I think we beat the Browns.
Okay.
Solely because of the fact that the Browns destroyed the Bengals, but everyone wants to talk about how they destroyed the Bengals when in reality, Deshaun Watson had an ugly game.
They did. Browns, their defense is also legit, though.
Did you see that pick he threw? That was probably
the one right down the middle of the field. Yeah, just
not even right down the middle of the field. He threw it to the defender. He's running right, and he just goes to put some mustard on it and literally throws it to the guy's chest. I was like, that might have been the worst pick I've ever seen in my life.
Not that I'm a Deshaun Watson fan at all, but I really think the ball just slipped out of his hand there.
Probably.
Personally, because it was
But it's the Browns.
It was bad weather. It was, yeah. I mean, the Browns are going to be the Browns. I mean, every year there's always a team that is last in their division the previous year and ends up being first the year after. And the Browns I think are one of those teams that could happen to. You don't think so?
Since he's going to turn it up.
We'll see, man. They look bad.
I also see Cincy scoring like fucking 40 this week.
After
everything they're hearing about how bad that performance was. Bro, I have T. Higgins on my fantasy football team. He got me nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
He had 8 targets, didn't catch a single ball, which, don't get me wrong, the Browns got a pretty good defense.
Yep, they do.
But dude, what? Anyway, back to the Steelers. I think we beat the Browns just because of how badly we were embarrassed, and it's also one of those phenomenons where they're riding high. They just beat the guys that are favored to win our division. We're low, and Mike Tomlin's going to bring them to play. So
we'll see.
I don't know.
I like Mike Tomlin still, though. One of the best coaches in the league, and I think he'll straighten it out for them.
I wish he would just open his mind a little bit more to doing something other than simply running the football. I know the run game sets up the pass.
It really does.
But I feel like with the way people play football now, I mean, you look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't have an amazing back that could do that, but they have a serviceable back that can get them where they need to go. Oh, it's 2nd and 3. We're going to run the ball up the gut. Okay, Isaiah Pacheco. Okay,
I
first
love
down.
Pacheco too.
Rutgers
the Chiefs
guy.
are different. Yeah, I love Rutgers guys too. But the Chiefs, I think, are in a different league though, just because of Mahomes. I think him by himself will carry a team to 12 wins. I mean, doesn't matter who's on his team.
He needs Travis Kelce.
And he's gonna have him.
I
Next
also
week.
don't think that a very specific receiver who's probably been getting a lot of shit from New York fans.
Oh,
I don't think he has that same game.
Tony, yeah, Kadarius Toney's a dog. Like even as a Giants fan, I could say he's a dog, and I think what happened that game was a fluke. I really do. I think they're gonna be fine. So
wait, speaking of flukes, did I ever tell you this? Like the nickname I have for Baker Mayfield?
what?
I call him Maker Bayfield because
Dude,
he doesn't play like Oklahoma Baker Mayfield. He's Maker Bayfield.
did you see?
My dad
Oh, yeah,
comes
go
up.
ahead.
My dad comes up to me after he wins with the Buccaneers, and he's like, "So we're watching the games and everything, and we're watching the Buccaneers game. After the game's over, I was like, wow, that was a good win. Like that, he looked pretty good." And he goes, "Does that mean he's no longer Maker? He's now Baker?" I went, "Yeah, I think for this week we're gonna call him Baker Mayfield."
Yeah, Baker Mayfield. I don't like Baker Mayfield, but that dude plays with heart, man. No matter what team he's on,
Wants
he
to
always
compete.
he's a competitive ass dude. So you gotta respect him for that. And did you see the clip of him running the ball to the outside, hitting one of the Vikings corners? And then he goes, "Get your weight up, little boy."
Yeah,
Did you see that? I was
that.
dying, bro. I was
like the
dying.
one-
That
I
shit
like-
was so funny.
I like the one that was going around like the mic'd up. That was like, he walks into like they're about to go in like victory formation. They just got like a first down to like seal out the game or whatever. Baker walks into the wakes. I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
Baker walks into the huddle and he goes, "All right, guys, victory formation. So are we all gonna take group hugs at the shower tonight?"
Oh my
I was like, "What?" And everyone's like, "Hey, yo." Like,
dude.
I was
Fucking
like, "Who
Baker, bro.
says that?" And again, whatever. Good for Baker Mayfield. He does deserve it. I mean, he was blackballed from the league for a while. and
Yeah,
then-
if he ever loses a job, I would love to have him as a backup QB.
yeah.
I don't know. I just think he's a great team-oriented guy. So, but he'll still be a starter in this league, even if he loses his job.
Yeah.
He still will be. So,
All right. So
oh yeah.
now that we're done being depressed, talking about our teams getting absolutely embarrassed, slobber knocked.
slobber knocked is an understatement. Stomped. Absolutely stomped.
Like, bro, do you know what's crazy?
What?
We both jinxed our teams so bad that we're like, I'm not gonna lie to you. The Steelers made me hate football for a couple hours there.
Oh,
But that Miami
You're
game
telling
restored
me.
my faith. That Miami game
Okay.
restored my faith. I was like,
yeah. It was
I
fun
was like,
to watch.
this is why I love football.
Yeah, same.
And then, I remembered, I was like, oh my God, my team is 0-1. But I'm like, then again, it's game one. It's one game. We're not going to sit here and overreact. I'm not going to be like, the season's over. The Steelers suck. Trade Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, no, same.
Let's go sign a washed up quarterback.
I'm not
that says
saying that
cringy
stuff
bullshit.
either. I'm not saying that stuff either about the Giants.
Exactly.
I'm not saying.
I
that
always
stuff.
say, give it a month or two.
You got to
No,
give it a few
give it
games.
like 5 weeks. Normally by 5 weeks.
Week 2 is the most important though. For all teams.
I think week 3. I think week 3 and 4 are bigger than week 1 and 2.
Well, if you go 0-2, you're pretty much out of the playoffs. Even with the 17 games now, like I think the stats are Like back when 16 games, it was you only had like a 7% chance of making the playoffs if you were 0-2.
Also, before that,
but I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, also the 16-game schedule, everyone talks about that, but it's also the fact that there's another playoff spot now.
There's another playoff spot. True.
So,
Good
I
point.
don't know. I think, personally, I always say, how we can tell who the contenders are? Right around, like, the first or second week of October.
Yeah.
That's normally when, like, the teams will start to come into their own, and
Especially last year, yeah.
the pretenders will continue to be pretenders, the contenders will be whatever, and then there's that, like, middle ground of teams that will do extremely well in the regular season, and then absolutely, choke.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like a very specific team that had a very good win on a very specific time game. I don't care what anybody says. I will sit here and throw shots at the Cowboys until the day I die.
This year they're different, though. That defense is different this year. I don't know.
It's still crazy to me, though, how, like, for me, I know I'm biased, but I think out of all the sports franchises, for football, I can't stand Cowboys fans and Ravens.
Ravens, okay.
Like, I could deal with the Philadelphias. I could deal with the Redskins. I can deal with I'm sorry, the Commanders.
Commanders, they're Redskins.
Yeah, anyway, I could deal with all like the stupid like the L.A. Raiders or wherever they are.
They don't even
now.
have
Vegas.
fans. They don't have fans.
Vegas Raiders and everything.
Yeah.
I could deal with all
fans,
that.
actually,
I could deal with all the annoying fan bases, but the Cowboys, I don't understand why they always think they're going to win the fucking Super Bowl every year.
Well, this year we'll see.
Anyway, let's
go.
Let's segue a little bit.
Yeah. So you had some sports what ifs, and I'm interested in seeing what you're about to say.
So, for me, let me just give the people some backgrounds. These sports what ifs are essentially have no grounds, no evidence, no anything related more of this is what I think would have happened if said situation didn't happen. For example, my very first one is simple. If Derrick Rose in 2011 doesn't get injured and Tom Thibodeau decides to take him out in that blowout win, I believe I almost said the Warriors. I believe the Bulls win it all.
I think that's a great take.
Solely because this is my evidence. Now, don't get me wrong. This was going on 12 or 13 years ago at this point. My first thing of evidence is, I don't know if you've seen this interview, but Dwayne Wade actually says him and Braun were debating on joining D. Rose in Chicago in the summer of 2010.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I said, that should be all the evidence, but you need to know about it. But also, if my memory serves me correctly, I'm pretty sure Chicago went 3-1 against Miami that year. Miami was obviously from history, was proven to be vulnerable. I think what would have happened was it would have gone to Game 7, and I think the Bulls would have won. Bulls had the best defense in the league. I'm pretty sure that it was top 5. I don't know. I know they had a very good defense.
Yeah.
And I think they could have stopped Dirk, and D. Rose would have had a season where he was the youngest MVP, and then also the youngest, well, maybe not the youngest Finals MVP. I think Magic Johnson still holds that, but he still would have had probably the greatest season in sports because
he was unreal.
My favorite though, whenever I talk about D. Rose with people is people like to compare basketball how it is now to D. Rose's MVP year. They'll put like a side-by-side comparison and be like, this is who you guys had as MVP in 2011. You have to understand, basketball, I'm going to use the word broke. Basketball broke in 2015. I love Steph Curry to death. He's my favorite player, but broke basketball. Threw it on its head and lit the league on fire to the point where every level of basketball now is affected by him. Pre-2015, these guys weren't scoring 125 points a game. The league average wasn't 115
Definitely
a game.
wasn't.
It was like 108.
Yeah. The ball.
Check my math.
Ball changed everything, yeah.
Exactly. So Derrick Rose was averaging 32 or 30 in that league. I'm pretty sure he was scoring a third of his team's points.
Damn. Yeah, I mean the Bulls were legit that year. They
had Rip Hamilton too.
They had really good defenders on that team as well. I forget. I know they had Carlos
Something.
Boozer. They had
Joakim Noah, Luol
Joakim.
Deng. Bro,
Yeah.
Luol Deng was the second leading scorer, and he had like 17 or 18.
Oh,
a
he
game.
used to be a beast. Yeah,
he was a bucket.
He was a great player for sure. So
But-
great role player.
That's my hot take. I
like that
firmly
one.
believe D Rose doesn't go down in 2011. They win it all.
I like that.
That's their season.
It's a great hot take.
'Cause ain't nobody was stopping 2012 and 2013 Braun.
Nobody was. Yeah, that's
You know?
true. Okay, cool.
But
what else?
my next one. This one is a little bit more like. I feel like this one's a little bit more like, well, duh. But I believe if Kyrie doesn't break his kneecap in the 2015 finals, the KD Warriors don't exist. This is my reasoning. I think the Cavs and the Warriors did have advantages and disadvantages throughout both of their teams. Like, for instance, the Warriors got KD because of the fact that they couldn't get through LeBron. I will be the first Warriors fan to tell you that. We got KD because we could not beat LeBron. 2016 should be the only reference I need to make about that. So, I also believe in revenge series. Like, I say this to you all the time. If two teams in a 3 or 4 year period go to the finals and they're evenly matched, whoever wins the first one will lose the second one. So I think the Warriors and Cavs would have reversed titles where the Cavs would have won in 15, Warriors would have won in 16. If the Warriors win in 2016, Kevin Durant has been on interviews and said, if they would have won it all, I would not have joined them.
Wow.
And then you think about the landscape from the. I mean, LeBron probably has like 2, 3 more championships after that.
He might. That's a good point. Yeah, he went through a rough stretch of teams they had to play. Like that Warriors team.
Well, also he
nuts,
was banking
too.
on the fact that Kyrie would honor the contract.
And
that he
Kyrie.
signed then,
Yeah,
but-
exactly.
But then again, Kyrie's kind of like a wild card. You know.
He is.
I've never-
He's still
I've-
a good player, but
yeah,
just
like, I'll
can't
never-
trust him.
You know, I'm never really the type of person where like, if your off the court actions are like, you know, your views or whatever it is, you know, I don't really care what you're up to.
I don't care.
You know,
either.
I don't care about like, no offense to Kyrie or any like sports guys, but like, I don't care what you do off the field. As long as you're not breaking the law, killing people or whatever, I can care less about what you do in your personal life.
I agree.
I care about
100%.
it. I will only care about it if it affects your play of basketball.
Exactly. That's a
You
great
know,
way to put it.
like for instance,
Yeah.
when Kyrie sat out for however long it was because he was anti-vax, I understood why. It was his belief. You're
Yeah.
not going to make him change his mind and
No.
whatever. But when he starts like retweeting things about, you know, anti-Semitic things, that's where I'm kind of like, all right, now you're really like testing my, you know, my give here. But
yeah, I agree.
whatever. Either way, he probably is the best handles that I've ever seen.
Top 3.
At 1.
You really think
2,
so?
2, and he ain't 2.
He probably might be. Yeah.
Him and Curry, I put at 1 and 2.
You got to throw in like
Him, Curry, and AI are my 3.
AI's up there. I agree. I can't think of names on top of my head, but there's definitely a couple others that were up there.
One other guy that I think gets, you know, swept under the rug because of the fact that he didn't play for like 2.5 years. I put John Wall in that conversation.
John Wall's good too.
John Wall had some handles. John Wall had moves that I had never seen before.
I think didn't he? What happened to him? Didn't he tear his Achilles as well, or was it ACL?
I
It was
know
something
I know he
bad.
got injured to the point where it didn't heal right.
It didn't. Well,
But
basketball injuries are rough, man, because
Yeah.
that sport, like, you're moving and cutting like crazy. So injuries really do add up in that sport.
Yeah, that's why I
So-
could never understand why people talk shit about Clay. About Clay's not the same player. Blah
He was
blah blah.
he was a spot up shooter though, as well. So
Yeah, but also he was lethal.
oh,
You know, one dribble left, shoot, one dribble, whatever. But the big part was he lost a huge step on defense, and you see the fall in his game, just because you got to understand, this guy had a 2-year period where he suffered probably 2 of the worst injuries that any basketball player can have. Maybe not the ACL as much, because I feel like the ACL is a lot more, you know, treatable.
it is.
But
You come back from it.
You had an
quickly.
ACL tear and an Achilles tear. I don't remember if it was the same foot. I don't want to sit here and be like, it was on the same foot. No, I don't remember
know.
if it was. But
I have no
he
clue.
had 2 major injuries back to back of each other. And people are like, oh, yeah, he's lost a step. I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. Let me go bash your knee in and rip your Achilles up and see if you could still perform the same way. But besides the point, those are my 2 sports what-ifs. Those are probably the 2 that if anyone were to ask me, those would be the 2 I'd get off the top of my head, just because I don't know. I just think that that's kind of like a little bit of like food for thought. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Chow and Dimes podcast, and we thank you again for joining us. We appreciate your feedback. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the TikTok, subscribe to the YouTube. I feel like we don't ever say that. But then again,
I usually put something on the bottom. I usually do. So always try to subscribe. We want subscribers. We want to get more notice. And definitely follow the TikTok. We got a lot of good videos on there. And yeah.
We lost our one follower. I don't care, man.
We'll get more.
Yeah,
we'll get more.
Hey, man, hopefully we can get one person, just one. I want to be able to sit there and just be like, yeah, my man Greg.
But yeah. All right.
Anyway, appreciate you again for coming out. Thanks for listening to our bullshit. Hopefully our teams don't drop the ball this week. And at least one of us can talk high and mighty about our teams, and maybe the other one can kind of chill a little bit. Or, for all we know, both of our teams could just walk out there and smack the shit out of the other teams we're playing. And
That's what we're hoping.
Because if I have to hate football until 4 o'clock again, I'm really... Well, then again, my team plays on Monday. If I have to go to sleep angry at the Steelers, I'm not going to have a good Tuesday, bro.
Yeah.
But anyway, before we end up rambling, we'll see you soon.
See you later.